We are 1 week behind. I haven't finished Gryffindor yet. And then I still have to light the candle ceremony for Ravenclaw, you know? So, we're just entering the Dragon Queen moon. So I think there's this binary thing that it's both Gebra and Hesed, and not one or the other. There are a few things here. One is a vision where Mother Andromeda, she's like an intergalactic Targaryen queen, you know? She genetically engineered like billions of these pearl dragons. And when I was given Charlie was one of the brown ones in this fleet of pearl dragons. These pearl dragons are now infiltrating Earth and going to be plugging into the spine of every individual here. I was given the brown one because I didn't need a fucking pearl one, you know? Like all all the morons on this planet that are swine, that are beasts, that they need this higher goddess energy to come through. So they will be plugging in and anchoring on. And it's much like an avatar bond connection. If you feel them, just know you have one. They'll probably plug in and as you're sleeping and then reveal themselves later. Mine has a name. They can have very funny names that are like 10 words long and cute, you know. But this is to offset the demonic forces on this planet. So when we talk about Gryffindor and the horses of Gebra is the cavalry. So we're bringing our cavalry in. And there will not be one human allowed on the planet that's not plugged in to a pearlescent dragon. Not one. The pearl energy is that higher vibe goo, but it's smart, it's tough, it's tricky, and it's for the highest karmic good. Instead of this, so it will enable people to change faster and for healthier reasons than having them slough through the muck for eternity. Once I did my dragon initiation, it was like, no, let's. I went to Star Fuentes, a lowly student, right? And about a year later, I left a teacher. Then 2 years later, 3 years later, I got my dragon initiation. Once I did my dragon initiation and had them plug in, my evolution went exponential. It makes Star look like a crap fucking teacher. The dragons are so evolved and not demonic. I don't have to school them about their astral behavior. I don't have to parent them. Sometimes I need to go, well, that sucked. But, like, it's very rare. They're usually responsibility, intelligence. But the point is this fleet of pearlescent, they all have phoenix genomes, so you can't kill them. So this is the military state that everybody has subconsciously co-created and chosen because of their bad behavior. So that's what you get. You get America's super nanny on crack. So these dragons will act like nannies and healers and educators all around the planet. They will go into all the third world countries. They will go into the ocean and clean it up. They will go send them prayers of grace and healing gratitude and try to find yours. Mine, she's very shy, you know. They will show up in little form and in big form. So be mindful. This is a high class. This is not my breed. It's Mother Andromeda's breed. So I was given this vision. So she looks like the Star Wars genetic engineering queen, the alien, for a reason. I was given this vision in like 2016 or 17. It's probably 16. Of the tables where all of the engineering was happening. Like they were all the clones. This is what we get. It's going to be our Pandora reality. Everybody and their dragons. So these are not the dragons that they need to tame, you know. These dragons are to tame the people. And the people's brains, and the people's souls, and the people's consciousness, and the people's bodies. The fucking micromanagement of the universe. So, let's talk about waging war. Visualize your approach. This is what you get. The higher you get towards God, it all becomes micromanagement, especially when we get to the realms of mastery. All right. Sun Tzu said, you should have by the way, if you have a journal with your pearly dragon, it helps. Sun Tzu said, in the operations of war, where there are in the field 1,000 swift chariots, as many heavy chariots, and 100,000 mail-clad soldiers, with provisions enough to carry them 1,000 li, the expenditure at home and at front, including entertainment of guests, small items such as glue and paint, the sums spent on chariots and armor, will reach a total of 1,000 ounces of silver per day. Such is the cost of raising an army of 100,000 men. This is very important, especially when you're going to establish a business or anything, or a school, or a college, okay, or a farm, but definitely an army or a business. You have to take in account the long-term microcosmic expenditures before you even establish the idea that you can wage a war. Now, when you're on God's side, and you're on the side of the dragons, and the fucking galactic priestesses of the universe, is those dragons might not even be of, you know, the cost of waging a war for them, for magic, is not the same. Especially when they're battling 7.8 billion demonic children. When you engage in actual fighting, if victory is long in coming, the men's weapons will grow dull, and their ardor will be damaged. If you lay siege to a town, you will exhaust your strength. Again, if the campaign is protracted, the resources of the state will not be equal to the strain. This is very important to understand. Always be on the side of God. Because if you're not, the people on the side of God will exhaust the resources to the 9th degree, to your very wit's end, until you guys are trampled, and then still Divine Goddess will come through with a fucking cavalry of 7.8 billion pearlescent dragons. And they will not be forgiving. They are dragons. So, enthusiasm, duration, making love and waging war. It's the same thing. So if you're waging a war, there's a peak of enthusiasm amongst your soldiers. Now, if your soldiers are dragons or dragon people, their enthusiasm will stay real low, real long, and then may climax like that at the end. Because they're dragons. Normal people get real excited real fucking fast and then fizzle like dipshits. They tank and then end up in the lava like lemmings. So, when you approach a war, and if you have dragon people, or you train dragon people, you train them to be not that enthusiastic, and you train them for the longer haul. Period. You train them to drag on. Long game. Same thing with sex. 20 minutes into sex and it's like, yeah, this is great. 40 minutes into sex, tanks. It's tantra, you know? Tantra. Not a lot of enthusiasm, not a lot of vigor. Longer, you can handle it. I'm exhausted right now. Some people might say I'm tanking. I've been exhausted for 11 years. That should say something. Now, when your weapons are dulled, your ardor damped, your strength exhausted, and your treasure spent, other chieftains will spring up to take advantage of your extremity. So they will literally strike you because you're weak. They will not play an honorable fight. The no man, however wise, will be able to avert the consequences that must ensue. Or ensue. No, this is only when you've exhausted your resources and like if you're in a divine serendipity and you're playing a long game, that's when maybe the Hail Mary will come through. Thus, though we have heard of stupid haste in war, cleverness has never been associated with long delays. So this is If you're going to wage a war, make it fast and quick. That's ultimately the lesson. Strike it to kill. Black Mamba. That's it. Done. There's the rattlesnake totem. The cobra totem, perhaps. The cobra totem likes to play with people. The black mamba totem is hunt death. Action, thought, a fighting chance. So if you have 30 times the level of action and less thought about your action, you get a fighting chance. So the teaching that is going to come through with Ravenclaw, with the cups, is going to be titanium. But the lesson, so the lesson is it's a protection lesson. The lesson for Dot is talk is cheap. So the more actions you're taking, so if talk is cheap, your thoughts are fucking cheaper. Way cheaper. Because your words have more gravity than even just your thought. So it probably should be a smaller thing for thought, smaller thing for words, and then much more around the actions. There should be a fourth thing of action, and that's the roll your sleeves up and get fucking filthy action. So like the deep, real work action. That, like, that's where you really have a fighting chance, not the chicken dance action. I do a fair amount of chicken dance action. Somehow I'm gonna figure out how to do more roll my sleeves up and get the job done action. All right. There is no instance of a country having benefited from prolonged warfare. So, eternal war, or even prolonged war, does not create health. It weakens the state and the morale. It is only one who is thoroughly acquainted with the evils of war, who can thoroughly understand the profitable way of carrying it on. So, if you don't understand the treachery, the pain, the suffering, there will be no light at the end of the tunnel if you perpetuate Now you can do it if you're calculative, and you know the thresholds of your own endurance levels and your army's endurance levels. But if you don't understand the evils that it will have just even on you and your army, it's not gonna benefit. So, gruesome, nasty, and cruel. There we go. Massive potential profits. So maybe if you, here's the teaching. This is the teaching of the millennia. I'm not joking. You have to create more pain for them than the pain. Like you have to create the pain so that they change. The pain it takes for them to stay the same must be greater than the pain it takes for them to change. So you have to bring the pain. Nobody gets this. So that's Gabriel. If you're on God's side. Okay. If you're not on God's side, then it's a tyrant. So you have to create, it's like pain. You make me a believer. And it's from an Imagine Dragons for a reason, you know? Stupid punchline, but still. You have to be gruesome, nasty, and cruel. So it's kind of like a doctor that sees a rotting limb and you have to chop it off. It's the same thing. And it's not like you have to punch them in the face if they're like a kid. No, but you gotta take away their shit, you know? You gotta create pain. So I forgot to create the pain with the Orca hunger strike. So this works really well with a boss, an employer, a mate, or a friend, or somebody you're like in a dispute with. Or a kid. Most of it's just raising children. The skillful soldier does not raise a second levy. Neither are his supply wagons loaded more than twice. Bring war material with you from home, but forage on the enemy. I did that with my hunger strike. On my Dragon Queen article, I talk about dating. Or men. Like a never pay. Ever. Ever. Don't go Dutch. I go, don't pay. Don't even have the money to pay. And either forget your wallet, what the fuck ever you need to do to get some level of respect from men. You gotta command respect, you know? Let me repeat this. The skillful soldier does not raise a second levy. Neither are his supply wagons loaded more than twice. Bring war material with you from home, but forage on the enemy. Like, travel light. And then improv. Like you have to hunt for your meal. That kind of thing. Thus, the army will have food enough for its needs. Here we have problems. Here we have baggage. I don't understand this therapy. It's kind of weird. And then we've got resourcefulness. I don't really understand this. The less problems and the less baggage, the more resourceful you are. I think this is the more you're gonna need therapy. think of somebody who's like, I just think of Monica Potter going and trying to travel in like backcountry, and she wants to bring like 5 suitcases and her fucking Louis Vuitton and her goddamn lipstick and shit, and like her stupid like jelly belly shoes instead of like 3 pairs of jeans, a sweatshirt, some long underwear, and hiking boots. Like, so therapy. She'll need therapy. And I'll probably need therapy after listening to her fucking complain all day. So, it's like, you gotta be street smart. The level, I want to add this, the level of street smartness is going to be the level of success rate. Probably. Yeah, when you learn to never trust anybody and develop your own roots, you go further in life. Now, then you can develop some real friends that are also street smart. None of these like polished entitled pricks that everybody does the work for them, so they don't have any power over anything they do because it's all being done externally. So this is the key of like, the end of the day, I fucking hate the dragon stuff because it's like, man, my power is dependent on dragons or God. How do I make it dependent on me? That's the real answer. So this is why my dragon fucking hates me and treats me like shit. He goes, do the work. And it's painful. It's excruciating. But you know what? More independence. All right. Don't you trust the magic you do way more than the magic somebody else does for you? It's like they can contribute the energy, and boy, does that help. But at the end of the day, it's like the 55 hours I put in versus the 1 hour somebody else put in, even if that 1 hour feels more like more energy than the 55 you did, the 55 plus the 1 hour is better than any like fucking 1 hour of a healing session from somebody else. Put the 55 hours in and do the 1 hour. And then you might be able to create a push. So, yeah, when you hear people go, you don't have to work hard, look around you. What about the state of the planet makes you go, yeah, that's true? Tell that to Misty Copeland. You don't have to work. Tell that to a Shaolin monk. That's somebody skating through life that's gonna end up jumping off a fucking cliff and then being eaten by sharks. All right. Poverty of the state, exchequer, causes an army to be maintained by contributions from a distance. Contributing to maintain an army at a distance, contributing to maintain an army at a distance, causes the people to be impoverished. I think about this with my students too. Like, the further my students are away from me, the more impoverished they are. The closer they are to me in physicality. Even just with writing with me, even just with more videos, the less impoverished they are. Creating so just be like out of sight, out of mind. It's like when the cat's away, the mice will play instead of work. Like they'll just fuck around and eat resources. Or if they're smart and a cat, they'll do a healing session. But very, just like where you spend your energy, like if you're running a company, it's gonna be way more when you're there. If you're running an army, it's gonna be way more when you're there. If you're teaching a class, same thing. This is like you'll go sign up for some stupid acting class, right? Like I did with John Ruskin. So you sign up for an acting program, okay? And it's with the master teacher, and this is the guy you actually trust and want to receive education, right? But he wants to pawn it off onto some fucking apprentice. And then the class just tanks because the guy that's supposed to be teaching the class doesn't actually show up. So, like, you've got to have people you trust that have, like, real charisma and talent. That, like, oh, the students would have paid for the talent of this person. So you can recruit on the level of, like, that. Like if you're gonna outsource, you know. But that would be the only time that you could like trust it's like when it's like a conglomerate. And people are like, yeah, I'll go sign up for that teacher. I'll pay for that. And then you can trust that. And then you don't have to sit around and micromanage. Man. Okay, so on the other hand, the proximity of an army causes prices to go up. And high prices cause the people's substance to be drained away. Okay, so let me this is gentrification here. And this is also something like you bring in a football stadium into a town to bring in the money, but it actually creates more poverty. And everybody thinks that it's going to bring in money, and then it actually creates a wealth gap divide, and it actually degrades the quality of the city around the Colosseum. So when you have your main attraction or your army, right, it's just the higher fucking prices. So like the US does it pretty nice. They have the military bases. Right? So you have the military bases, and then on the bases, it's like houses and development, right? So that everybody is housed accordingly. And then you have like the shopping centers on the military bases, and like you can buy things at less price. So this is actually done well in the US. I don't know how it's done everywhere else, but if you think about, like, let's say we're going to build a Hogwarts, and we need to build the school, right? We're going to end up probably raising the prices of stuff around because we're raising the economy, which is weird. So like, because it's there'd be a farm there, and then the farm would need higher quality equipment and etc. And it's just endless. So what also happened is that people of the town, even if we would come in, would initially they would go, well, we're going to raise our prices so we can take advantage of these people. There's that component. So it's pretty fucked. When the substance is drained away, the peasantry will be afflicted by heavy exactions. When their substance is drained away. So when like the morale of the people, the soldiers, your Google comes in to a city and gentrifies the city, And it's all fun and sparkly. And it's like the movie The Circle, okay? It's all fun and sparkly at first. And eventually, the techie novelty wears off because there's a lack of humility and humanity. And then it says, so that's like the substance being drained away. My substance is being drained away right now. All right, the peasantry will, just by talking about Google. It's so fucked. The peasantry will be afflicted by heavy exactions. All right. So Google comes in and it makes the poor people poorer. And then they get angry. Welcome to Silicon Valley. Yeah, our planet's one giant narcissistic war ready to pop up. Inflammation, wages, poverty, plenty. So this is probably the better area to be in. Just medium-sized wages with low inflammation. Low to medium size, actually. Keep people humble and only needing to spend what is appropriate for maintaining an adequate lifestyle. With this loss of substance and exhaustion of strength, the homes of the people will be stripped bare, and 3/10 of their income will be dissipated, while government expenses for broken chariots, worn-out horses, breastplates and helmets, bows and arrows, spears and shields, protective mantles, drought oxen, and heavy wagons will amount to 4/10 of its total revenue. So we're now at 7/10. So the prolonged militarization still crumbles. Money sent from home. Poor future prospects. And then go, how dynasties crumble. So, any money sent from home that is not invested wisely creates degradation of character. So this is where, like, if you're giving money off to your kids, so let's say you send your kids off to college and you're sending them money instead of writing the checks for the books that need to be bought and that you've bought specifically because it's on their required reading list, and you buy the used books and probably like found a way to do it online instead of the fucking physical book, like that kind of thing. That's how a dynasty succeeds. How a dynasty crumbles is like, here is $50, and you know what they do? Spend it on beer. Like, and drugs. It's that simple. If they want to spend their money on junk, they should get a job. But it's so money sent from home. Same thing with a company. Same thing with anything. It should be like the CEO approves the requests for purchase and go, yes, no, yes, no. And that should be on every like CEO's agenda. Because like the money that, or a treasurer who's fucking worse than you, more responsible, smarter, and then still check it over with that person and then go, all right, if the United States government actually operated that way, there would be no deficit. If the United States government understood where to put their money, there'd be higher education, less medical, there would be like the purchases that need to get made would be getting made. And then there's the whole weird pharmaceutical, why is the wealth in the pharmaceuticals instead of the government? And there's that component. So it's a little fucking diluted, So the idea that we will have no government ever in the future is slim. We will have an enlightened government. Until we have no books and computers and live off of a tribal system. Even that will be like enlightened governance. Why? Because nobody on the planet is choosing self-governance to become a master. So it's one or the other. Hence, a general or a wise general makes a point of foraging on the enemy. Sorry, I'm just thinking of the psychic attack that I receive is the indication of the opposite of mastery. It is anti-mastery. Man. All right, again. Hence, a wise general, makes a point of foraging on the enemy. So, I'm going to forage on the celebrities. I'm going to forage on the government. I'm going to forage on this hypocritical spiritual teachers. I'm gonna forage, right? Anybody who's an enemy. I'm gonna feed off of them however I can. So, 1 cartload of the enemy's provisions is equivalent to 20 of one's own. It's like every meal that is purchased for you. is equivalent to 20 meals you would create for yourself. So if you want to make greater strides in life, you've got to forage off of the enemy. At that point, it's like, you know, those women that that like to go online so they get dinners every once in a while, or like every night they go on a new date. That, you know, even though it can be exhausting and tiresome and somewhat rather dangerous. Oh my god. All right. Oh man. Let's read that again because it's beautiful. One cartload of the enemy's provisions is equivalent to 20 of one's own. And likewise, a single picule of his provender is equivalent to 20 from one's own store. So remember this as you even as you negotiate and barter and bargain. Take. If you're on the side of God, take. I don't know why this book is why men love bitches. Like this is the art of war, dudes. All right. Hustle. Turn on that hustler genome. To win, you gotta hustle, you know? Like there is no not hustle. And then you go, not hustling. My not hustling's been turned on for a while, you know? Or turned off, you know? So hustling. I'm a big passive hustler. What do you it's like a form of entrapment. What do you call it? Hustler. What's that? All right. Hustle and assets. Carpe everything. Take it all. You know what should be on this Gabriel movie list is the Sigourney Weaver, Jennifer Love Hewitt movie where they're like hustling men. That it's a great strategy movie. Man, to get anything done on this planet, you're going to be dealing with the most dumb fuck, pig-headed, stubborn, rotten, misogynistic men. They deserve nothing. Nothing. Just... you are not allowed to have a heart in Gabra unless it's for the dragons and yourself and Mother Earth. That's what's got you through Hufflepuff. That's what keeps you in Gryffindor. They're all fucking Slytherins. You've got to hustle them. Now, if you choose to be in Slytherin, that's a whole other ballgame. That's a griffin inside of Slytherin. That's not, then you still gotta hustle him, you know? Man. Now, in order to kill the enemy, our men must be roused to anger, that there may be advantage from defeating the enemy. They must have their rewards. Yep. So, this is like, you know how some people were like, the Iwo Jima, not Iwo Jima, wasn't, no, it was the Pearl Harbor, that. So it's like, you know how people were like, FDR was in on Pearl Harbor or knew about it and let it happen? It was because he understood that the boundary needed to be crossed so intensely if he was in on it, okay? But even if he wasn't, it's like the boundary needed to be crossed so intensely that it made the Americans go, ninja. Because staying in fine zone and limbo zone, ninja. So they it's got to create, people have to be hungry, you know? So if you have if you're running a business, creating like anything, they need to have the hunger to succeed. Even if it's not like killing an opponent, it's gotta be like killing it. That. If you're not hungry, then this is why I say, like, this is why Lucifer goes, I need some fucking goats, you know? Instead of sheep. I need some fucking climbers. Even that might be a little low. Maybe, but it's like goats and then mambas. Now, there is not a Slytherin alive on this planet that's ever going to get the Mamba grid. Ever. That's Arya Stark. That's Uma Thurman, you know, in Kill Bill. That's that Black Mamba. That's calculated. That's the Dark Femme plus Gaebera. And the Dark Goddess ain't doing that with men. Unless the men are like Hiccup. Femme, you know? It's not gonna be like Kylo fucking Ren. Unless Kylo Ren's a good guy. Even Harry Potter had to be like, I'm in the light, you know? Expelliarmus. Man. Like Baba G can do it. Because he's an enlightened master, you know? With the Dark Femme. Shiva. So he understands all the goddess energy. You can't be like praying, like a man praying for rape or even thinking about it and think that Mother Goddess is going to go, Black Mamba, you know? It's going to, no, Black Mamba's coming at you. Like that. Like, real fast. Okay, so let me repeat this. Now, in order to kill the enemy, our men must be roused to anger, that there may be advantage from defeating the enemy. They must have their rewards. So you've got to create the why. Therefore, in chariot fighting, and here's the other component. It's not about necessarily creating the why, it's about revealing it. Therefore, in chariot fighting, when 10 or more chariots have been taken, those should be rewarded who took the first. So it's like you've got to reward the people who take the initiative than the bandwagon people at the end. Like you've got to create an incentive or reward, or the morale goes for that person, and then you lose like one of your stars, your star warriors, right? So it's kind of like if you've got like Hurt Locker bomb people that they go sit on a bomb, okay? There's an adrenaline rush and there's a reward, right? Once they solve the puzzle, once they go do the work. But it's also that there's a double-edged crap there too, because it's also the fucking danger zone. So these are also first responders. These are also like frontline. This is also like the Navy SEALs going in for or special ops, okay? If you leave them stranded, their morale goes, oh, these people are evil who are supporting me. Now, if you give them the reward and then send the cavalry, then they're like, yeah. Like, and then you get a team of success. Our own flags should be substituted for those of the enemy, and the chariots mingled and used in conjunction with ours. So it's like, my goal is to wear the head of the people I slay. And they will be prizes. So it's that mentality. It's kind of how like guys are like, all the women that are notches on my belt. All of their resources shall become mine. So this is in business too. If you take over another company or you're at war with a company, you take it over, all of those resources are now mine and work in conjunction with mine. Boom. The captured soldiers should be kindly treated and kept. So, Kali takes the head off of the demons, and Genghis Khan takes the heads off of the masters, because he knows better. Slays them. The soldiers, the captives, if you treat them well, you can conquer them. You can get them to love you, and it works. Man, how this many things could be told here. This is called using the conquered foe to augment one's own strength. Number one, it weakens the morale. So let's say you have an enemy, and then you become friends or best friends with his ex-girlfriend and his ex-girlfriend's friends. You treat them well and you love them, and then it's it's captured folk, right? Now what this does is weakens. It's a mind game. It weakens the other party a lot. So that man may go, fuck. Ah! And then it also makes them feel like shit. Assimilation. And then it goes, unite and conquer. Bring them into your army. So here you've united. Bring them in, you know? I'm looking how many more pages. Oh, just one more. In war, then, let your great object be victory, not lengthy campaigns. Thus it may be known that the leader of armies is the arbiter of the people's fate. The man on whom it depends whether the nation shall be in peace or in peril. So the leader determines peace or peril. Be mindful when selecting a president. A president of any country should go through this book and then offer their wisdom, knowledge, and experience with these matters, so you know beforehand. What the fuck you are voting for. All right. Duration of war, cost to the state, cost to the state, trust in leaders. So the more the duration, the higher the cost. The more the cost, the less trust in the leader. So this is why the modern mystery school fails. Because after about 3 years or 4 years and $30,000 later, the people burn out and go, I'm not going to pay for this shit anymore. And then they also see the hypocrisy. It's just the cost. Just the cost. Next page. Color red out.